Hello, my name is Ureli Rodriguez. I'm here with Bandic Development Corporation, and welcome back to Portneuf Valley Pod.
And I'm Kyle Peterson. I'm an adjunct professor of marketing at ISU. We're here at the Black Swan Inn. We have a conversation with Larry Fisher, owner and founder of the Black Swan Inn, coming up.
Hello, I'm Larry Fisher. I'm a resident of Pocatello, and I've lived here all my life. I love the Pocatello, Portneuf Valley area. I'm a building contractor by trade, and I also own and operate the Black Swan Inn in Pocatello and Destinations Inn in Idaho Falls. I appreciate this opportunity to, as a board member of Bandic Development Corporation, to meet with a representative of Bandic Development Corporation and to work with her and Mia Kate as our CEO and the board. They're a wonderful board to work with. And one of the things that people ask me all the time is, how did I get involved with the hotel business and the Black Swan Inn? So my occupation really started out as a building contractor. We'd build custom homes here in the Pocatello area and areas around Pocatello, and small commercial buildings, and I love doing that. And then about 1996, my wife and I went to a theme hotel down in Utah, and as I was sitting there looking around the room, I thought, this would be really something fun to build and be part of. And so I got thinking about it, and there's this building that the Black Swan's in right now. It was an apartment complex, or townhouse apartments, and I thought, you know, that would be a perfect place to do a theme hotel. So I got looking into it. The building wasn't for sale at the time, but after a year I convinced the owners to sell it to me, and that kind of what started the Black Swan Inn, started this venture. So in 1996 we purchased the building. We started tearing it apart, and we completely gutted the whole building, and our first phase was 8 rooms. And when we got done with that, things were going well enough that we started our second phase and did 6 more rooms. Currently we have 14 rooms, and there's still room to build some more. In 2006, there was the Destinations Inn opened up in Idaho Falls. Another builder built that one up there, remodeled that old building that was built in 1906. And in 2010, we had the opportunity to purchase that. So we've been running that building, that Destinations Inn, for 14 years. So that's kind of how we got started in the hotel business.
That's pretty cool. How did you convince them to sell the building? Picked up on that.
Well, the building, when the building was built, it was built in 1933. And so in 1996, it was pretty run down. And the owner of it, it was the father and 2 sons that actually owned the building. And I knew the one son really well. He was a building contractor. And I went to him and I said, hey, Sid, this building is really run down, and you could put $250,000 into this building, and you wouldn't even know you put it into it. It's so run down. And I said, you know, I'd really like to purchase it from you. And so he talked to his brother and his father, and his father was all for it. His brother was actually an attorney, and he had an office here in the building, and it's close to the courthouse, close to the post office. And so he was comfortable. He did not want to sell, but we convinced him, and we let him actually even stay here for a couple years after we purchased it as part of the deal. So I give him some time to find another location, and his brother built him a place just right across the street over here. Unfortunately, he went to Hawaii the week before he was supposed to move into the new place, and actually drowned while he was there. And it was very unfortunate, but really great guy. So anyway, that's kind of how we convinced him to sell us the building, and the rest is history from that.
Going down to Utah, it sounded like you were more in the role of a tradesman, and now you've switched to business owner, and I'd say / entrepreneur, knowing that there's other things you're involved with. Can you tell us, how was that transition from going tradesman and maybe working for someone else, or more of a large organization to I'm renovating, I am doing all of this, and I'm taking on by myself. I'm now owner. What was that like?
Okay, well, I've always owned my own business.
Okay. So as a tradesman, you were operating as your
Yeah,
own.
so
Okay.
I had my own construction company. At first, back in the late 70s, I was actually working for general contractors. I did trim carpentry work. And then in 1981, we started our Fisher Custom Homes when we built our first custom home. And so we've always worked for myself. And then Fisher Custom Homes, actually, I was partners with my brother on that one for 20 years. So I've always had my own employees, always done that. The intent when we started this was we were going to just get it remodeled and then have a manager take over, and then I'd go back and start building houses again, building homes again. This place just consumed all my time, and I really enjoyed it, and it's just kept me busy. So I never did go back to building homes. Last home I built was, I think, back in 1998 or somewhere right around there. And so I've just been working on this with this the whole time. In 2012, had the opportunity to purchase Performing Arts Center, the Mystique Performing Arts Center, Mystique Theater.
Okay.
And so there's always been things that kept me very busy, even though I wasn't building houses. And so between trying to keep this place going, buying the one in Idaho Falls, Destinations Inn, and then the Performing Arts Center, we ran it till and sold it in 2016. So that kept me really busy, and then now I'm actually involved with another builder where we did a subdivision and we're building homes out there, but he takes care of all that. I'm just kind of
Sounds like a relief.
I don't have time to do that. So that's kind of how that transition went. There's always work to do on the hotels. Between maintenance or new construction, we're always remodeling rooms. And this past week, I just tore out one of the carpets in one of the rooms, and put slate in there. Last month, we did the same thing in Idaho Falls. I tore out the carpet and put some travertine tile in our Paris room up there. So there's always things to do with new maintenance, with new rooms. There's actually a couple rooms here at the Black Swan Inn we haven't even done yet, just because I'm busy trying to keep up to date on everything else.
That's actually a perfect lead into our next question. Obviously, you had multiple destinations and multiple rooms that you have to look after, but what does an average day look like for you?
Well, kind of explained a lot of that already, but I'll come down here in the morning and just see if there's any issues that need to be taken care of, any maintenance issues, any guests that we need to get back with or follow up on. I have my daughter who's been with us for over 25 years, almost from the very beginning, who kind of manages the place for us. So I don't have to do that, which is a relief. She's wonderful, does a great job. And while I'm thinking about it, I mentioned that I married a wonderful woman, Debbie. I've been married for 45 years. Anyway, she's amazing. At the time when we started this, she wasn't really going to be that involved because we were having children. But she started getting involved, and she's an artist. She does most of the murals in here. She sculpts the rocks. We'd have some different sculpting done in here. She does all the bedspreads, the sewing and everything, and she's just got a great artistic eye, and she's just very, very talented, and she's a big part of the success of the Black Swan Inn. And also my daughter too, like I said, been a part of it. She's amazing. She's does a great job of managing the facilities and overseeing everything. So that's kind of what I do, is I just come down here and make sure that everything's running good, answer any questions. And then if there's any maintenance issues, I'll work on those. And if there's not, then I usually work on updating rooms and making sure that everything's running good.
I would imagine when you're saying that your wife started getting involved, but she was having kids, then the kids probably got involved. So how many of your kids have actually worked on doing some of the room construction or renovation or whatnot?
Or even management.
But I've got grandkids, 20 grandkids, so it sounds like a family operation maybe.
Yeah.
Most of our kids have worked here,
Very nice.
either as housekeepers or something else. And I had a son that actually worked for Marriott for 3 years, and he came back and worked for me for 4 years and helped get things put together and running smoothly and stuff. And he moved back to Utah a few years ago and has a great job down there. But anyway, yeah, so our children's involvement, they've been very involved. And right now it's mostly just my oldest daughter that's involved with it. My son does a little bit here and there to help out. Well, two of my sons do things with social media or else some different things to help out. And then grandkids, yeah, several of them have helped out as housekeepers. And my oldest grandson actually worked for me all this summer doing construction work. We tore out some concrete and repoured some different things, and he was a great help. And it was really nice to work with him. Now he's going to school at BYU right now. So.
But my experience with Black Swan Inn and destinations is actually when I've lived in Pocatello for a while. I lived in Idaho Falls. I've been here for a decade now, and a little bit of branding. I know that Black Swan Inn, when I saw the ads and in the movie theater especially, it always stood out to me as very high quality, luxury, and kind of a bit of an escape. Was that an intentional, those branding elements? Did that just happen as you were starting to get into your craft and doing all these rooms? What was the pathway? Because I think a lot of people recognize the Black Swan Inn as very high quality, luxury, and that escape. How did that come into, I guess, kind of manifest how we feel about the hotels?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and most of it was intentional.
Great.
There's two things behind that. One is when I looked at doing this, I knew I could build it. But when I looked at how much money it would take to cash flow, that kind of concerned me a little bit. You know, month after month after month, you had to have this cash flow to pay the bills, the mortgage and the housekeeping, the utilities and everything. And so that kind of worried me a little bit. And as I did all that calculating stuff, I saw, and back then we didn't have the internet, so we built this mainly for people who live close by, you know, for local people,
right.
You know, anywhere from basically 150 miles, 200 miles radius from here was our main clientele focus. So I thought, in order to have enough clientele coming, we'd have to depend on repeat business. If they just came once, we wouldn't be in business today.
I see, yeah.
And so we had to make sure that we
maneuver.
made this nice enough that people will say, wow, that was a really neat experience, very memorable. We want to go back. And so that was kind of our thoughts behind that, is we needed to make sure it was done very well and that they had a good experience. And I think that we've accomplished that. I think the perception is out there that's, you know, it's very high class and luxurious and we clean. That's another thing with my wife. She's Miss Cleanliness.
It is white glove quality here. It's impressive.
She made sure that this place stays spick and span. And now with the internet, it's even more important because reviews, you know.
Right, anyone can review bomb or be positive, and
and that's one thing that people look at. We find out in our marketing stuff is that people look at how clean your facilities are, you know, your hotels and different things, and that's very important for people when they're looking for a place to stay, the cleanliness. So that was very intentional. To have that perception and just make sure we did it right the first time. Then the other thing is we designed this for couples. You know, that was the whole intent, was a place that couples could come and get away. You know, we get so busy in life that we don't take the time for the most important relationship we have. Not mentioning God, but, you know, because I think that's the most important relationship. But other than that, our spouse is and should be the most important relationship we have. And so we've designed these rooms so that couples can have a reason to come and be together and spend some quality time together and build those relationships and those bonds that they should have in their marriage.
That's great.
And it's a lot cheaper than marriage counseling. A lot funner, a lot cheaper, and probably a lot more successful.
Yeah, sometimes that counseling can come at the end of line, and this keeps that from that line ever getting in the purview. So I like it.
And we've also, I'm proud to say we've gotten letters from people who say that they were actually going to get a divorce and that they decided to come here just one more time. And they, it wasn't because of us, it was them, but we were a part of them deciding to stay together, and they were very grateful. And so those are things that are really neat that I love about this place.
Yeah, I can imagine a review like that. That'd be simply incredible.
Out of
Very cool.
curiosity, what is your most memorable review that a couple has given you?
Boy, that's a hard question because we get, if you go online and check the reviews, we're very high, on the 5 review, we're high 4s, and on the 10 reviews, we're, 9.5. And I just love it when people are excited about it. And I guess one thing is I've heard over and over again, we saw the pictures, they looked really nice, we were excited to come, but the pictures don't do it justice. And, so I'm excited that they like it when they come, what they see, but to me it's more of the whole experience. We try to make it so that from the moment they put their foot on our property to get into the room to when they leave, that they just have a good experience, and that's kind of what we really focus on, is the experience that they have. We have the room set up, the music's going, the TV has a theme on it. This one has an underwater scene that's playing when people come in. This is the Atlantis Under the Sea room here, and so we just try to think of all the different things and just try to make it so they have a wonderful experience.
What would you want our audience to know about your business?
Well, if you've been here before, you kind of know what it's about, and we hope that you had a good experience and that you'll come back and try some other rooms. If you haven't been here before, then we would really love to have you come and see what it's about and have that experience. Like I said, the reviews, we encourage people to go on and read the reviews, just to kind of get an idea of what people are saying about it. And then we just, would invite you to come and try that experience yourself. And we really want to work with people. We're not perfect. Some things go wrong sometimes. And if you've had a bad experience, please let us know and let us make it right with you. We know that we're not perfect and sometimes things happen, but we really try hard to have good customer service and make sure that our customers have a good experience. I did this for an investment. I was hoping that it would be a good investment, but that's not the only reason I did it. I thought it'd be really good for our community. Our community, could use something like this. It brings people in, and it's just so fun. It's one thing I really enjoy about it is seeing people come and just being excited, and then it's just really, really satisfying.
So our final question is, why Portneuf Valley? So why this area? And whether that was the opportunities or even the property. What really drew you to create the Black Swan Inn here?
Well, that's a great question. The main reason is because I live here, and and I established
Which is
here.
a valid reason.
My
Investing where you live.
my family's here, and so. But my intent was, like I said, I saw this building. I thought this building would be perfect for this. In fact, the architect said that building was perfect, and I always say this building was built for this. They just didn't know it at the time. But anyway, it's just worked out great. But my intention at first was to start off with this one, to get a feel of this, and then build more throughout the country. And my age beat me to doing all that. And, I'd still love to do that, but I'm to the age now where I don't have an interest of pursuing that more. But the Pocatello and Portneuf Valley area is just a wonderful place to live and raise a family. And there's just so many wonderful things here. And I've been involved with the community for a long time. And I've just seen a lot of people who have been transferred here into Portneuf Valley, Pocatello, Chubbuck area. And they think, when they get the transfer, they we don't want to go to Pocatello, Idaho.
Right.
And they, okay, we'll go for 2 to 3 years just because this is a step in our our occupation. It's something we have to do, and then we'll move. Well, they get here, 2 or 3 years go by, and then they say, "Man, I love it here. I don't want to move." And I just heard that over and over again. In fact, I was just talking to somebody here recently who worked for On Semiconductor, and they begged him to move, I think, to Texas. And he does not want to move. He loves it here. He's transferred here and he's established here now, and he just loves it. And so he's going to quit his job because he wants to stay. He doesn't want to move with this company. So, that's just one example. But so to answer your question, yeah, I lived here. That's why I did it. But I stayed here because it's just a wonderful community.
We love to hear it.
That's a very tried and true story. Well, yeah, let the listeners and audience know. Yep, I've ran into many of people. I teach marketing at ISU. It's supposed to be just an ISU stay, and then they stay a lot longer. I myself was supposed to be here for only a year, and I was here for 6 years in Pocatello. And I only, made the move up to Idaho Falls because the job opportunity in Idaho Falls from connections in Pocatello. So, it's a tried and true story.
Same thing with my family too. We moved originally for family, but now my sister is getting her nursing degree and is with Portneuf Medical, and my family's just like, this is our home now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which brings me to ask, where do you think we'll be in 5 years? Does in the hotel management, or do you see what does a hotel chain, tell us where we might be in 5 years for Bannock County?
If I knew that, if we knew the answer to that, we'd all be.
You'd be a millionaire every day, probably. Yeah, but okay.
I do not, as well as I do. However, growing up in Pocatello, I've seen a lot of what it's gone through. And Pocatello, to me, there's been a lot of opportunities where it looked like it was going to break through and just be an economically amazing, a lot better than it has been. And for some reason, there's just always things here and there that came up. I mean, we've had some good successes, but there's been a lot of disappointing things that happened too. I really feel like right now, Pocatello and Chubbuck area, this Portneuf Valley, is on the brink of some wonderful things. And personally, I don't want it to grow really fast. I want it to be a controlled, steady growth that makes sense. But I think that we are living in a place that has a bright future and is as good a place as any in the whole United States to be right now.
Great. Well, Larry, thank you for your time. Appreciate sitting down with us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.